Hey everyone, this is Jakai's Cradle, wide receiver for Georgia State University, and you listen to FLOGcast Network. Go Panthers!
Hello. Welcome back. Yes, to the FLOGcast Network. Jay Ralph in the house today. Glorious day. Glorious Thursday here in the Flog. And yes, as you can see, that beautiful logo that popped up right before we got on. You saw our beautiful faces. It is TC Thursday. That means Mr. TC is right next to me. Right here, I think, right? Nope. This way. Yep, he's right there. There it is, TC. How's it going, Mr. TC?
It's going, man. We're here. We're live. We on a Thursday talking about fantasy football.
How do you beat that, man? How do you beat it?
You can't.
Heck.
Maybe some water. Some water will make us talk easier and keep our whistles wetted.
Wetted. Okay. Good. All right. Well, hey, TC, thanks for joining us today. We got a lot to go over. We got to go through last week's matchups, overall results, week 3 matchups, and also we have to go through real quick, TC, the waiver wire pickups that happened. You were heavily involved in that, unfortunately, and we will discuss that here in a little bit, and then we will talk about week 4 matchups, some good ones, some dandies here this week. So TC, week 3, no big deal. We will start with my matchup, and heck, you know what? I get one of those. Okay, TC, I shocked the world. I did.
You did. You really
the world.
did.
No big deal.
You shocked yourself.
Absolutely not. I did not shock myself. We knew we were going to win, but here's what I can say. Okay, I can say this.
We knew.
Jacob's team, the Tennessee Titans, they're human. They're human.
Yes, they're human.
Everyone here, everyone was screaming, oh, Jacob's team is the best in the world, best fantasy team ever. And here they are losing to my mediocre 2 draft picks in the first 7-round team. And 178.1 to 155.0. The Tennessee humans is what they should be called, TC. Any shocking result, mind-blowing things here?
Yeah, honestly, your team just came out. There were so many touchdowns. Devonte Smith had a huge day. And then your flex each got a touchdown. It was great. Your team performed. If they could do this all the time, you're making a deep run into the playoffs. I'm impressed. You did really good job, dude, drafting with, like you said, 2 picks in the first 7 rounds, and you did this.
Right.
Dude, yeah. It's just
Give me some, just looking at my roster, TC, we're going to go with you. What was some, give me one strength and one weakness on my team from last week.
Well, honestly, right now, your running back strength is I think you might have the best 4 running backs or close to, if you count the 2 starters and flex that are running backs, you've got a really good situation going for you. Every single one of them got a touchdown this past week, and that is huge. Your only weakness is really, I think tight end is one, but tight ends are hard if you don't get one. I mean, tight ends are always hard. We never know who's going to be the guy, and there's always a rotation. You always find later in the draft certain guys that pop off at certain times. Freiermuth, he's not a bad player. He's still young. It's hard to have anybody on the Steelers really getting fantasy relevant numbers when their QB is just not. He's performing not overwhelming or underwhelming. He's at a middle level. He gets enough to get him by. Your quarterback situation hasn't been great now. Cousins isn't doing bad. He's not throwing interceptions, but 260 yards and 2 touchdowns, 20 points. I guess we'll take it. You'd rather have 25 to 30 points from your quarterbacks. And the quarterback matchup here, Jacob McKinley with Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, he kind of blew you away. but you have consistency this week. That's what did it for you. Every single one of your players was involved. Your wide receivers were really good. Curtis Samuel still 7 receptions, and that's a bright spot because you want your receivers to be getting receptions, and every single one of your 7, 8, 7. So they're getting points in that. Um, Now kicker, I mean kicker and defense. I don't know where to even go with that. Like it's
Yeah,
just like
don't have
they
to talk
they
about that. Don't have to talk
cool.
about that,
Thanks.
TC. But yeah, heck, man, my team looked well. And hopefully they will continue to do that. Lots of guys though stepping up. Hopefully that is a trend there. But Skinny Titans, again, quarterback play, extremely big positives there. You got Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, 28.7, 30.6. Those are positives here. But TC, a big negative, and actually a couple negatives. One though in particular, Justin Jefferson. Last 2 weeks, he has scored TC under 10 points. Now, should there be any concern here? Or is it something not to worry about? Because again, just he's getting targeted. Well, he was
Yeah.
he was targeted week 2, but not as much week 3. I mean, just week 3 was just not a good week. 2.9 fantasy points, and that's why it was big negative there for the Skinny Sea Titans. And also Darren Waller only putting up 3.7, and Brandon Cooks only putting up 3.2. So those right there really hurt Skin, making his team kind of normal. Compared to the last 2 weeks, knocked him down to 2-1 Skin or TC 2-1.
Yeah, he only scored 3 touchdowns outside of his quarterbacks. Jonathan Taylor, 10.6 points. Uh, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he was really only valuable in the passing game, which is perfect for Jake McKinley right now. Got a
Mm.
touchdown still. But his keepers did not perform, and that is his core, and that's the only way that he's going to be able to continue putting up the numbers that we have seen him put up is when his keepers come to play. And they didn't come to play this week. They heard that the LeBron Kings were in the house. They kicked their feet up. They ate some chips and they drank some Gatorade. And they were laughing, they were laughing coming into the week. They didn't think that it was a serious matchup. But your boys came to play. And it's obvious. And you walked away with a 23.1 point victory over the reigning champs. And I think it's great, dude. This is what we love about fantasy football. You can't decide from based on the projections. The projections would have had him at 178 and you 155.
Mm.
But looky here, dude. You walked away with a big W. This might be the
Big
biggest win of
win.
the year so far.
Big win for
And
this. Keegan escaped, moving him to 2-1, tying the same record as Scotty Benzie. So,
what this last
get
week has shown us is that every team has a capability. I'll say every team, but I'll omit myself. Every team has a capability of scoring high and scoring low.
hmm
This matchup right here kind of proves it to us. We thought that both of these teams were, they are good on paper, but just this down week, you're not seeing any touchdowns. But then you also start having to worry about some of your players who aren't performing. Like is Javonte Williams was he keeper worthy at this point? He's
right.
not getting anything. When you realize what the snap count is going to be,
hmm
it's like that's hard. He did put Waddle in, and I think he'll keep Waddle there now after that big game that he had. But even looking at his bench, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis, they haven't really done anything except for Gabe Davis's first week. I feel like Chase Edmonds is a fraud. He's got 21 yards and 2 touchdowns with 6 receiving yards. Like the dude, absolute efficient. That was the best he could have done, just getting 2 touchdowns and nothing. So, Keegan's got a lot to deal with if he wants to really get more consistency um, on his team. So he's going to have to make some moves. If he had one more really good receiver, or maybe even quarterbacks too, because everyone was giving me flack. Why didn't I keep Murray? Why did I trade for Burrow? Man, I don't think Murray's that good. Okay, he's great. He really is good. But fantasy wise, I'm not a believer in him. And then Jared Goff kind of looked like his old self with that performance. coming from a 4 touchdown game to a 1 touchdown, 1 interception game. Like, this is a Jared Goff we all know. He's a little inconsistent. He does have those big splashes. That's what Keegan was hoping for. Now, even though he did have a poor performance, he still won, so it doesn't matter. Like, all this bad performance doesn't matter because he got the weak win. But you do have to worry about a little bit some of these players who aren't getting the volume and the consistency that he needs them to get if he wants to make a true run towards a championship.
Absolutely. And, heck, Scotty did mention that there's only 2 teams this week, or I'm sorry, last week, week 3, that only scored over 150 points. And that was the matchup with Skin and I. Everybody else had under 150 points, which is not normal in our league. That's low scoring. Let's move on to another low scoring matchup. Terry's Terrorist found a nut. Certainly did. Good job for Marcus. He improved to 1-2, defeating the Brownie Batter team 142.1 to 116.6. Connor Lindback had the lowest score of the week, lower than you, TC. Good job.
Can you play the clapping hands for that too?
Absolutely. We'll get you one of those. Yep. Good job, TC.
Thank you.
Bouncing Connor to a 1-2 record. With his team, he started Justin Fields. That was a no. David Montgomery got hurt. Started him, though, 1.1 fantasy points. Tyreek Hill did not have a good week with 4.3. He started the rookie in the New York Jets, Garrett Wilson. He only gave him 9 points. And Darnell Mooney, 3.3 fantasy points. Derek Carr did well. Barkley is still, doing very well. And A.J. Brown's doing well. But there's a lot of holes in this offense, TC. Darnell Mooney being one of them. He's not having the breakout year that everyone was expecting. But also Kyle Pitts, another positive. He actually scored more than 2 points. Good for him. But again, Darnell Mooney not looking good, and Justin Fields also not looking good. Just the overall Chicago Bears offense, I feel, just not looking good. How you feel about Connor Lindback's team?
Yeah, holes definitely. He's not going to be able to keep his boat from sinking if he doesn't plug them. Like you said, the whole Bears kind of situation. Starting Justin Fields over Russell Wilson. Russ is cooked. It seems like he is. He's not really doing much, but you still have to play him over Justin Fields until Fields proves it, in my opinion. Montgomery, that's unfortunate, and he also has Khalil Herbert on the bench, who absolutely went bonkers, really basically won the game for the Bears. So that at least he has that to patch up this week. But Darnell Mooney, I think everybody bought the hype train that Darnell Mooney was a great route runner, great hands, speedy. Justin's going to get him the ball. So now we have to start questioning, where's the problem? Where is the problem with the Bears? If you wanna find out what these guys are dealing with, is it their quarterback? I think that it might be until he starts delivering better play. Then these fantasy options, they're going to be irrelevant still. I traded Darnell Mooney in an 8th rounder for Tony Pollard, and I think I won that trade. I'm so happy that I got rid of him because I probably would have started him a few times and had even worse scores than I do now. So thank you for that, Connor Lindback. Appreciate that. Kyle Pitts, though, finally getting some action. That is nice to see. I think he started Garrett Wilson because Garrett Wilson had an insane week 2.
Yeah.
And also his target share is, he's getting a lot of targets each game. Honestly, the Jets, with Joe Flacco as the quarterback, he was dishing it out to everybody. Everybody was getting targets. Everybody was getting points. So that's a weird situation. Now with A.J. Brown, he did great. Awesome. Tyreek Hill, you're going to have a few of those games. It was just kind of a one-sided game, Miami versus Buffalo, even though Buffalo had possession of the ball most of the time, had a whole bunch of yards. They couldn't score. They couldn't find it into the end zone. So they were never really playing from behind, Miami. So I don't know, maybe they didn't feel the need to. And then when Tua got knocked out, the back injury, maybe that had something to do with it, but that's fantasy for you. But Terry's Terrorists, they did decent enough. Now, when you have a team that goes for 116 points, you don't have to worry about your team going.
No.
Yeah. So all you need to do is get a few touchdowns, just score your projection, and you should be able to walk away with that.
You got Trey,
Uh,
of course we mentioned it, Trey Lance going down for the rest of the year. What was, Marcus going to do? He picked up Geno Smith with a whopping $7, but actually came up worth it a little bit. 20.9 fantasy points there for Marcus. Matthew Stafford, though, not doing good. Not doing good at all. He only gave, 10 fantasy points last week. The week before, 21.8, but the week one, 8.8. So, I mean, that's 2 out of 3 weeks that Matthew Stafford has put up duds. Someone that you drafted, for a quarterback a little bit earlier than most, and he's not putting up, those numbers. His running backs also did not do well. Fournette and Joe Mixon, 2 keepers of Marcus's, both under 10 points. Debo, Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Drake London, all 3 doing pretty well. Travis Kelce did well, and James Conner under 10. But Cordell Patterson, his second flex option, 21.8 points. I like watching Patterson play. It looks like, he's larger than most people, but he's still got that speed that he's kept for a little while. Heck, last year, he's a top 5 running back as of right now, kind of similar with what he did last year, TC, and just enjoyable to watch, even for this, Atlanta Falcons team.
Yeah, Cordy P has been, and last year when this kind of production started happening, everyone's like, oh, well, can he sustain it? And that kind of played through the narrative of the season. Can he still sustain it? Now we're looking at it. This is the second year, and he's just being utilized in so many different ways. 141 yards, a touchdown. Like this guy is playing his best football right now. And this is all like rushing. He's breaking it free. He's doing stuff like it's insane. It's awesome to see. Like, what year is he?
Like, how old is he?
I guess, but I mean, like, I'm just trying to think, like, why didn't we never like got to see this, before and now when we consider him an old man. So it's kind of crazy, but to pick him up, to draft him, and for him to like come in like this and play the way he has, that's great. This is a guy that you got to start every week right now until he breaks something and he can't play.
He's
That's the
our
only way
age,
up.
TC. He is 31. Was drafted, from Tennessee in
He's your
2013, the
age.
first round.
He's your age, old man. I don't want to
Okay.
hear it.
He was born in 91, so heck, I'm older than him.
Oh my gosh.
I know it. I mean,
That's
he's been
crazy.
bouncing around. He was in Minnesota, Oakland, New England, Chicago for a couple years, and now he's in Atlanta. And heck, I think he's having the best careers, or best, he has played his best in his career last 2
Yeah.
years in Atlanta. So
Yeah, it's been great. It's been fun to watch. It's good for fantasy. You always want to see players perform well. Marcus really hit on that pick, so and I like that.
yep,
And what you were talking
absolutely.
about with Matt Stafford, he's got 5 interceptions and 4 touchdowns this year. That's rough. I think that he's got a little bit of the Kigsy disease going on, but also he
Who?
realizes like
Oh, you're talking about Stafford. Okay,
Stafford, yeah. He
gotcha.
he won the Super Bowl, right? Like that is something he never thought was possible until he got traded to the Rams. They had a crazy year. Now I think this year that while the Rams did win the game, they've got they've got to change it up. They've got to do something to try and get their offense rolling like it was last year. It doesn't help that their running back situation is kind of a mess. There's no real receivers on that team except for Cup. And Matthew Stafford was dealing with an injury, right? Like he's still kind of hurt, is what the reports say. So, but he's always been playing hurt. So I don't know. He did leave some points on his bench with Thielen and I guess Melvin Gordon, but I don't start Melvin Gordon over anybody there. And the only person I might think about starting Thielen over is, I don't know, Terry McLaurin. And I don't know if you would want to sit Drake London anymore. He's just a focal point of that offense.
Yeah, you can't sit London. That's for
Not
sure.
anymore. You can't. So
No.
I think he played his team the best that he can. If he wants to improve and he wants to stay competitive, he's going to need to get himself quarterbacks, or at least a quarterback that is a top 8 quarterback. You have to
Right.
have a top 8 quarterback if you want at least one. Now, if you got 2, you're in a good position. So if Marcus is looking for trades, go for quarterbacks. Maybe you need a stronger running back.
Mark is going for trades.
You got a point. I didn't know it was
That's
jokes
funny.
hour, but yeah.
All right, TC, the matchups from last week. Real quick, we'll go over pretty much the TC free agent offers report. You were highly involved, spent a lot of money in this waiver wire pickup a couple days ago. TC, you threw in the very highest bid so far this year. Romeo Dobbs, Dubes. Is it Dobbs or Dubes? Dubes,
I
Dobbs?
don't know. I've heard it both.
Dobbs?
I've heard Dobbs. I think it might be like I say Dubs because I think it's
Dubs?
cool.
That
But
mean Dubs is, that was pretty good. But heck, you spent a whopping $50 on Romeo. That next highest bid TC was $17.
who was
But you
that?
got your guy. And are you happy?
Yeah, because he has the potential to be Aaron Rodgers' number one wide receiver. Um, I'll take that shot. My team needs any help it can get,
Well, here's the thing.
and
So we kind of talked about this in the group chat. It felt like a podcast conversation.
yeah.
Um, I mean, this reminded me of Kadarius Toney last year. And heck, he did very good, but he was a rookie, and so he doesn't really fall into a keeper category for next year. Do you think Dobbs is going to be in that category?
Well, he has to be in the conversation because of the potential of his number to be the number one. But and especially with Aaron Rodgers, like he's gonna make the good throws to the right people. We all know what kind of person he is. That when you Romeo went 8 for 8 in targets, he caught everything that Aaron Rodgers threw toward him, and I think that's gonna like really help build the chemistry between these two. And he's gonna start looking for this guy who caught every single target the week before. Now I imagine that there will be down games, but it's mostly just the potential. I mean, you looked at it as a Kadarius Toney situation, but did I put $50 on Kadarius Toney? I don't think so. I think I like
No,
picked him up
no, you
early for
didn't.
cheap, and
Yeah.
then I've started him one week and he went off, and then I was like, he's my guy, and he wasn't. He's injury prone, and the Giants dislike him a lot. But I mean, it's fantasy football. I need to hit something here. I need young players who can be my keepers, complete rebuild, like shake down my roster completely. So far, it looks like Brees Hall, if he keeps getting those target share, if he keeps getting those receptions, he's definitely a possibility. I think Chris Olave, he's got a definite possibility. So I've got these young rookie players. If I could have four, three, two, honestly, two rookies next year as keepers, then I won my draft, in my opinion. Maybe I lost on the year
And
completely, but
that's risky, TC. It's
it is.
risky. But
But
again, you're in kind of a rebuild mode.
yeah.
Real quick, TC, we do have a chat that came up. So I'm going to ask you, start with you. Um, next, he asked, would you start Jalen Waddle or would you start Devonte Adams? Good question there. Thanks for that, buddy.
Is it starting this year, or is it just like from here on out? Because that's a tough one. Like, and then you got to look at your flex. Like, if you have those players, what's your running back situation like? And if your running back situation isn't good and you don't want to start one of these players, you could probably trade one of these players as a package and maybe like a lower running back for a stud running back here. Now, if I'm picking between the two of them right now to start, just start and nothing else, I'm going to go Devonte Adams. He's the proven vet. He's the guy you want to stick with. Now, I know Waddle is the fresh new meat, um, but it also depends like who is. Let me look for who the opponents are of these teams also.
Yeah, I'm trying to look.
So Waddle plays tonight, Cincinnati. Cincinnati hasn't been the greatest. The Raiders are playing the Broncos, and the Broncos have had a bunch of really good games defensively. But I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm going to go Devonte Adams just because of the proven track record. Now, you need to figure this out pretty quick because it is Thursday. So that's my answer, Devonte. What about you, Mr. Ruff?
I think I'm with you. Again, going up against Denver. Um, you know, Devonte Adams, he has seen the end zone every week so far in 3 weeks. But you got Waddle, who has been exploding. And I think that is a tough one, but I think you would have to point your arrow a little bit more with Adams. But heck, it's if in that situation, I wonder what the situation is because
Yeah.
those both of those guys should be starters. They really
Yes,
should.
I agree.
So I wonder, if he's maybe has Stephon Diggs or that's another, like another one that should be starting over those guys. But I wonder what else the situation is. But I think those guys, both of those, should be starters. But if I had to pick, I would pick Adams over Waddle.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's an easy one. It's not an easy one. With fantasy football, every league's different. The settings are different. You're going to have different scoring formats, and that's going to take. If it's a PPR, like full point PPR, then it brings Waddle even closer because he's a target hog. So if it's half point PPR, then I'm going to go more Devonte for certain. But there are just so many things that go into understanding which players to start with your
absolutely.
lineup too. So, but I
All
think
right.
that's a pretty good take.
Appreciate that for the question there. Let's move on. Continue to knock down this waiver wire list. TC, you had Joshua Palmer for $12. You owned him before, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and I think you
I was
drafted him,
I did. I was
and
hoping to.
then
I
you
picked up
dropped
Zamir
him, then you
White.
picked him up.
I picked up Zamir White and dropped Josh Palmer because I'm like, oh well, he just got a touchdown last week, which was really what propped him up. Keenan Allen was out, but he's starting to like come into his own. I think a little bit more, getting more and more looks. 4 targets, 8 targets, then 9 targets. So the targets are going up, but that also could be because Keenan Allen was out. But if he continues to play like this, then I think that he becomes trusted by Justin Herbert to make the plays, and especially with Mike Williams doing what he did this past week. I think he only had one catch. I don't know how many targets he had. Let me look real quick.
Who's that?
Mike Williams, like, so I'm just like wondering like where, and it was an underwhelming game. Herbert was is still dealing with the rib injury. Mike Williams
Well, it
had
just
six
wasn't.
targets
Yeah,
and
it
only
just wasn't
one
a good
reception.
game overall for
So it
Chargers.
wasn't a high scoring game, no. So like I don't know. I see that there is still potential there. I guess I overspent, but I don't think of it as money. I think of it as like go get the players that you want. Like it doesn't matter what they cost. If you can get them, get them. If you want them, go get them. And we can sit here and like debate like maybe I spent too much, but I got the guys I wanted. So at the end of the day, for me, I still won because I knew what I was giving up to get these guys that I wanted.
So
Now
you
everybody else is
also, yep. Let's speed it through here. We got TC. You also picked up Jacksonville defense for $4. Could have got for zero.
could have.
Young Hoo Koo $3. Could have got for zero. Broncos defense for $3. Could have got for zero. Um, Tyler Conklin got for two. And then that's it for you.
Well, you can the whole you could have got for zero doesn't apply when you don't know what other people are bidding. So I don't think that could have got for zero matters.
Well, I mean, who coughs up a lot more on certain defenses or kickers? I never spend more than what like $1 than a kicker for a kicker. I don't. Defense, I don't
That's
like doing either. But you spent
that's fair.
two. Yeah, no, it was a three. No, it was two.
Three and two
Between two
and four.
defenses, you spent $7. TC,
Yeah, that's $7 well spent.
is it?
I mean, what else am I going to spend it on? What is seven
Freaking
dollars going to really
players.
that is $7 going to get me the player that's going to change my team's chances of a lineup like change? No, I don't think so. In the grand scheme of it, I don't think so at all.
I
Now, the
don't
only
know.
reason this looks bad, okay, well, other people started bidding also, and somebody tried to put $2 on a guy, put $3 on. Then I look great because I outbid him by $1. Now
Well,
it's a
on
fine line
players, yeah,
between
not
yes,
defenses.
yeah, but I think defenses are overlooked in our league. I think defenses don't score enough. It's a whole other side of the football that we don't even like pay attention to because I don't know why. Um, I think we should look into IDPs too because that would be more like skillful. So I mean, I just want to go for. I want to try to find the defenses who are going to have the strongest strength of schedule, or like the weakest strength of schedule towards playoff time, so that I don't lose.
Right. All right. So and then Brownie Batter team picked up David Njoku for $9. No one else, I believe, threw in a offer, which is surprising. Actually, Tennessee Titans tried for $0, but I mean David Njoku, he had a good week, but 2 weeks before that he didn't do anything. So it's going to be interesting to see how involved he is moving forward. TC. All right, let's move on to our week 4 matchups. We got some good ones this week. We'll go ahead and just start with yours, TC. Will you be in an 0-4 hole? You're going up against the Brownie Batter team. This could be a first victory for you. Brownie Batter team 1-2. You're 0-3. You got some, locked cues on your, actually two on your roster, Justin Herbert and Alvin Kamara, but those guys should be good. You threw in Romeo Dobbs in there right away. Another rookie in Chris Olave. You got Tyler Conklin in there as your tight end, Damian Harris and Tony Pollard, your flex play. And then Brees Hall as your other running back, and T Higgins, you're another wide receiver. What do you think about your team, TC?
Yeah. If my guys score touchdown, I score more points. So that's what I'm going for here.
Good
With
strategy.
Higgins and Olave, I think you have to play the hot hand in Olave. I think Higgins is just a great player. You can't not start him. Kamara, same thing. Even though he's had down weeks, when he did get the ball, he did look decent. So I think he's due for a bounce back performance. I'm hoping for like 4 touchdowns this week from him. Nothing too crazy, not 6, but definitely more than 3. With Dobbs, I just kind of it's between him and Ayuk, and I really don't believe in Ayuk at this point. Claypool also I don't really believe in because there's no really fantasy worthy option on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's hard to really gauge for the San Francisco with Jimmy G. The only reason he had 11 points, he went 3 for 8 and he got a touchdown, and that was the only reason he even looked that good. So he's not really getting anything. So I'm kind of trying to play the hot hand right now. I need this win, so I got to do what I got to do to get touchdowns. Now I really do like my flex is pretty decent. I think it's consistent. They're going to consistently get me more than 10 points each week, these guys. So I think those are just like I just set them and leave them now. But it's
Mm-hmm.
hard though because I'm also trying to get AJ Dillon in there, but he's not getting much. That JMC Kinley, that team is doo doo. Are you talking about the Savage Patch
I think
Kids?
you talked about your team. That's
You
just
know
an
what?
easy guess, though. I think.
You know what? It's okay. Sometimes you gotta like be at the bottom to really appreciate the top.
Full rebuild mode here.
Hmm.
Yep. All right, let's go to the Brownie Batter teams. Got Russell Wilson, Derek Carr as quarterbacks, Barkley and Herbert. Backfield for Chicago, replacing David Montgomery's in there. AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, still his wide receivers. TC, and he's got Kyle Pitts, tight end, Antonio Gibson, who's been doing pretty good, and Juju Smith-Schuster is in there in his second flex spot. I was about to give Connor some crap because, I'm heck, why are you starting Juju? But then I look on his roster and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. There's not much to choose from. So, I mean, Juju's just a guy that I don't really want to put my trust in right now. I mean, he's last week he was targeted 8 times for 5 catches. Yes, 11 points, but I wouldn't feel confident in cocky having Juju in my starting spot there.
Yeah, Juju's not really. I mean, he had that one good year when was his rookie year when Antonio Brown was still on the Steelers. He
Mm-hmm.
looked really good, and ever since then, like there's been this kind of hype that Juju can be good. Yeah, he can, but he spends too much time on TikTok, obviously. to really understand what he's supposed to be doing. I mean, that's not my business. He's still making great money, and he's a professional player. But fantasy wise, I'm not comfortable starting him in my flex like week to week. At this point, but I don't really see anybody else on the bench that can take that spot with Hunter Renfrow on the IR, Julio Jones. I don't think Julio Jones will ever be what he used to be. I think he's just injury prone at this point. He's not going to really make his comeback. I know he wants to, and everybody else.
All right, welcome back. Well, some technical difficulties, TC, but we're back here. Let's move on to our next matchup. Going up against my team, no big deal. LeBron Kings going up against Scotty Benzin's team and the CD's Nuts going up against them. Both 2-1, both 2-1 teams. One coming from a big upset victory, and the other getting destroyed by one team. One team's on fire. One team is struggling a little bit, coming back from a loss. Let's move to Scotty Benzin's team. He's got Patrick Mahomes. He's got Tua as his quarterbacks. We'll see what Tua does. Showing some ankle back issues. He should be okay. Austin Eckler, Harris as his running backs. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Pittman Jr., Cortland Sutton. Wide receivers, George Kittle is his tight end. Damian Pierce and, thank goodness, Mari Cooper in a second flex spot, TC. He's got Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Michael Thomas, Kareem Hunt, all on his bench. Well, how do you feel about Scotty Benzin's team?
I think this is his best lineup that he can have right now. I do like that he put Cooper in, and I like that he put Pierce in as well. At this point, you just kind of we've seen the rookie he got 11 touches, then 15, and then 20. So they're really starting to feed him the ball. They're starting to understand how useful he is. So I think that's a good decision going forward. Now, situation I'm looking at here is he's got the Bucks defense against Kansas City. I don't know if that's going to work out for him. That could help you in the long run.
It will.
We got another chat.
It will change there. The defense.
Jake McKinley. Yeah. Jake McKinley says fluke victory.
I'll take that fluke victory, baby, all day long. All day long, Skin. Fluke victory.
Keyword victory. Keyword victory.
Yep, that's the key word there. Yep. Thanks for that, Skin.
If you win, somebody has to lose, and is that a fluke loss? Keyword loss?
Don't talk about fluke losses here on this FLOGcast. We hear it enough with Q. We do. We flukes here and there. Fluke,
he might pop up somewhere.
Enough of the flukeness.
Talking about fluky.
Move on to my team, TC. I got Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, my quarterbacks, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry been playing well as my running backs, Devontae Smith, Stephon Diggs, and Curtis Samuel. My wide receivers, Pat Freiermuth is still in as my tight end, top 10 tight end. Zeke Elliott and James Robinson, my flex spots. How do you feel about my team, TC?
You did a good job. Picked up Samuel, you drafted Devontae, and you drafted Robinson. They're all starters for you. Now you really your biggest weakness is your quarterbacks, and they're not even weak quarterbacks, but they're not top 8 right now. You need Rodgers to be able to play like Rodgers can, and you need Kirk Cousins to play like it's a Sunday 1:00 game where it doesn't matter, because any primetime stuff you're going to have just nothing like you did last week. They can do decent, and your skill players all go off again, and you can come home with the victory. But as soon as you get these quarterbacks situation figured out, or if you find yourself a better one, your team it's a contender. It really is. You've got a good team this year. This is probably your best team in recent memory. So,
yeah,
good job.
See. I thought last year was a pretty strong team, but as of right now, TC, I think my team is. They're coming back from back-to-back good weeks, majority of them. Heck, I have Nick Chubb, who's right now currently the number 1 running back in our league. Derrick Henry starting to turn it on a little bit. He's 12th. But I also have James Robinson, who's 3rd. He's been
Yeah,
playing well. And then I have Stephon Diggs. He's number one. I have Curtis Samuel. He's top 10. I have Pat Freiermuth. He's top 10, like I mentioned, tight end. And then Devonte Smith has been turning on. So right now, I'm having some guys, playing well. But again, it's a thing. It's fantasy. So how long
it's
will that
fantasy.
happen? How long will Nick Chubb continue to dominate? How long will Stephon Diggs continue to be the best wide receiver in the game? Will Devonte Smith see multiple games similar to what he had last week? Will Curtis Samuel still be involved in the offense like he is? Same thing with James Robinson. So there's a lot of ifs. Will that, am I doing the OQ right now and having these players having fluke games? I'm not sure. But right
I don't think
now,
it's so fluky, but I think that your weak link here, besides QB, is also Ezekiel Elliott. He's not the Zeke that we know.
he's
Um,
not.
if he doesn't get
No.
a touchdown, he's kind of irrelevant.
But here's what
He's great.
here's what I'm looking for Elliott. I know, heck, I kept him, and this is kind of silly to say for someone that you just kept. But as of right now, watching him and watching Pollard, I'll be happy with 10 plus points every week.
Yeah, if he gives you 10
That's
points in your flex, I think
my
that's all you
flex.
can ask for.
So that's what I'm hoping for in the Elliott train there.
Yeah,
So
and honestly, I can see if Trevor Lawrence keeps playing like he has, he's improved every week. He's thrown like fantasy points wise, he's improved every week. He is ninth ranked quarterback. I see yourself having somebody like him being able to take over one of these QB spots, and if he can continue to throw 3 touchdowns a week, you got yourself a starter. So that's a good pick. It's hard to put him in over one of these two right now, so I agree with your decision to not
I
start him
think I
yet.
think the reason why he's not in right now, TC, is the Philadelphia defense been playing very well. The corners have they've been destroying quarterbacks. So I don't know, especially with Lawrence coming back from back-to-back weeks, if the Philadelphia Eagles would just like, hey, it's those last 2 weeks were flukes. The key word today, fluke. There you go, Keel. But I mean, heck, I feel like Philadelphia could open the eyes possibly of Trevor Lawrence, or we could see this is a big game for Trevor Lawrence. See what he's made
This
of.
is
Is
this
this a
is.
heck? I'm here, year two. Here I am. The hype
Um,
is here.
he's
It's
good.
a big game for Trevor
He's
Lawrence
really
here.
good. I think honestly, I think it's an okay start if you start him over Cousins.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can choose wrong in that situation. I don't think that. I think that Cousin has a lower floor, but he's got a more. He's more consistent so far. So I think that's solid. But there's a direction that your team can head, and you'll need to pull the trigger sometime on some certain situations, and you'll be running for it, dude. You'll be in the running. You'll be in top 3, top 2. You can do it.
We'll see. We'll see. Still only week 4, lots of weeks to go. TC, before we do our predictions here on this matchup, let's go because we got kind of disconnected there. Let's do your who do you think winning? Who's going to win your matchup against the Brownie Batter team and the Savage Patch Kids?
I think the Savage Patch Kids are going to pull this one out. I think it's
I
my
think
time.
so.
I think Alvin Kamara and Brees Hall both get touchdowns. Um, I think Pollard does too. I think Burrow and against the Miami Dolphins, I think there's a big game. I think it is it at Miami? No, it's in Cincinnati, so it's not going to be so hot. We're not going to deal with the heat. I think we're going to have a good game. My quarterbacks are going to take me in, bring me home, and yeah, I think I'm going to win this week.
Okay, we've got another chat, TC, and then we'll continue with the thing here. Can I ask what your opinion is of a trade that was proposed to me would be? And I'm assuming he's gonna post that on there. So
Yeah, let's see it,
um,
Melkor. What you got? Now
we'll
you
see.
also with trades, it also depends on there's so much like we were talking about earlier, scoring system. Um, do you need this player that the other people are trading you? Can you still? I mean, also like trades are also defensive in a way because if somebody else doesn't get a player that needs a player, then you can still win the trade in that aspect too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
we play in trade happy leagues. We love trades,
we
like
sure do.
big time. We really like to do that. We like to move people around. Um,
Right. Well,
So
we'll go back to that. Our producer will tell us that. But TC, who is winning your overall matchup right now between
this is a
you
tough
and
one
Connor Lindback?
because I think it's me. Ooh, I just saw the trade. I think it's me that's winning because of my record the past 5 years. But for some reason, I don't know. Like I think that it could be very close. It could be even. I think it's almost even.
TC, you said it's even?
I'm gonna go even. Yeah.
You've played Connor
Oh wait, tell me how many
15
times we.
times.
Okay, so it can't be even.
Can we even?
7 to 8. I got 8. Connor's got 7.
You are losing 6-9. 6-9 to Connor Lindback.
So I'm due.
That's weird.
I
Okay.
know, right?
He did. We got a trade offer now. He gave up Amon-Ra St. Brown for Cordell Patterson and Brees Hall. TC, this is a good one. What do you think?
This is a good one. What are you,
about this
what are your
trade?
other running backs? We need to know what the other running backs are because if this guy's deep at wide, he's got
There
Diggs,
he goes.
Kelsey,
He has
Sutton,
Diggs, Kelsey,
Samuel,
Sutton,
DK.
Curtis Samuel, DK, and fairly weak running backs.
I'm not giving up
that,
Amon Ra
Melkoff.
for those guys. That's tough, really. I would try to trade, like Sutton, Samuel, or DK for a running back before I give up Amon Ra for Patterson and Brees Hall.
You know what? I think, yeah, he's got Wilson, JR, Harris. I think that was a good trade. I think it was because he already has Diggs, who's been playing out of his mind. He's got Travis Kelsey. Cortland Sutton hasn't been doing that bad. Okay. He's got Curtis Samuel and DK. Okay. He got Cordell Patterson, TC, who we just talked about.
I'm not giving up the Sun God.
Mind.
I'm not doing it. He's got he says we play one running back and then they're a flex position. So he only has to have one good running back. Now he's trading for 2 good running backs. If you've got good receivers and you only need one running back, I'm not trading for 2 good running backs because you don't need them. Now I get the backup situation. I would try to trade off Sutton or DK for if
he already did it. It sounds like he already did it.
No, he says I give up. He hasn't done it yet.
Okay. I would do it.
I'm not
I
doing
would
it.
do it.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have the disconnect. I like it. I like that you will do it and that I wouldn't. If it's not like a smash accept, don't do it.
That's false. That's false. Because I think, again, he already has the best wide receiver right now. So, and then
Amon-Ra St. Brown and Diggs.
He has Sutton,
I'm keeping them.
Curtis Samuel, and DK. TC. Those
Yeah,
will
but DK,
sub in for St. Brown.
So
and look at his running backs. They're not good. Cordell Patterson is there.
Yeah, I'm trading. Okay, trade DK for like Cordero or Sutton for Cordero or one of them for Brees Hall. Brees Hall's about to snap off. If you can get Brees Hall for like Curtis Samuel, I'm going there. Or DK even. DK for Brees Hall? Yeah, because Brees Hall's going to get receptions.
So we got one Keegan Scott, a Flog member. Little Keezy disease. He said he wouldn't do it. Keegan wouldn't do it. He's with you, TC.
Yeah.
He's with you. Let's get back word. What do you got? What do you got, producer? What do you think? What would you do? He's not doing it either. Okay, so I'm the lone shark. We helped you out a little bit, hopefully, Mel, and hopefully that helps you out. Heck, if you've been mulling over it for 24 hours, heck, hopefully that helps you out a little bit.
Hey, Melkor,
appreciate
the follow.
There you go.
Definitely.
There you go. Yeah. So heck, I say, I like it. I like what he could be getting, but again, these other losers say no. So thanks for that, man. Thanks for that. That was a fun little combo.
Yes.
Okay, we got another
Russell
trade
Wilson for Tom
here.
Brady.
Does he trade? What was that again, Q? Does he trade Russell Wilson for Tom Brady? Yes.
I'm doing
Russell Wilson for Tom Brady. I say yes.
Mike Evans is
Because
back.
heck, how often do we see Tom Brady? And Meg, I was an owner last year, brand new year. But I think Tom Brady will turn it on.
Yeah,
Having his running backs a little slim pickets, not having Mike Evans last week, not having Godwin last week. I think these guys will help him out, jump in there. Tom Brady will go back to be a good fantasy football guy.
yeah. Russ has his best options at wide receiver right now. He's not making things happen. Tom Brady will make things happen. He's getting his receivers back. Things are going to start working out for them sooner. I'm accepting that.
We agree with you, Mel. We agree with you. I believe that he will get up there, at least if not top 5, at least top 10. He'll jump in there. Absolutely.
That was to Seahawks 33. I'm sorry.
Seahawks 33. Thanks for
So
that
he's a
YouTube
Seahawks fan.
question.
He's a Seahawks fan, so that's why he wants, he's iffy on the rough
Ah,
situation or the Russ situation.
ah.
I get it, but Brady's Brady.
Brady's Brady. Yep, you're right about that. Okay. Keep the questions flowing. We'll stop our combo and we will answer your questions. Great questions so far. Let's move on and continue to talk about our matchups, TC. Who's winning our overall matchup in LeBron Kings versus the CD Nuts?
I'm gonna say CD's nuts.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's winning this week's matchup? Sorry. Let's start with
This
that.
week, huh?
Yep.
I'm gonna lean. This is tough because the ability that you see in these young players that are on CD's nuts team, they're just there's high chance for big games. But I think like the consistency route, I think that's you. So it's a tough one.
Yeah, good old yes or no question would be nice here.
I think LeBron Kings is gonna win.
Okay. I agree. Hopefully that's the case. Let's move on to overall matchup. Who's winning the overall matchup? Between me and Scotty, we've battled 9 times. 9 times we have battled TC. Who's your guess?
I'm gonna say CD's nuts is leading 6-3.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
0-2 for Mr. TC. 0-2. I am beating
Better
him
than
5 to
0-3.
4. 5 to 4.
Ooh,
No big deal. Okay, no big
that is
deal
no
there.
big deal.
5-4 over the commissioner of the Flog League. Let's move on to the next matchup. This one's going to be a good one. The Skinny Sea Titans battling the Magic Skull Bus. Their prediction score is a little bit off, but heck, who cares about projection scores? All right, because heck, I was down by like 25 points, whatever, and then I came back and I was the underdog story. This is going to be interesting, though, TC. Will the Skinny Sea Titans, let's say they lose. Let's say they lose. Oh, my.
Ooh,
Just last
oh
week,
boy.
TC, we were talking about will this team ever win or lose? And
And then they
he's
did.
possibly facing, I mean, this is a good matchup between, this could be, heck, last one between you and Connor, possible toilet bowl matchup. This is a
Mm-hmm.
possible championship matchup. So we will see. I mean, heck, Skinch could be facing week 4 as another loss. What do you think?
Yeah, if he loses and I win this week, we are only one game away from each other. So he doesn't want that. He needs to
Take
win this.
that, tease, or take that, Skin. How about
Mm-hmm.
that? Let me
Um,
ask you this. Of course, you can see a visual on our uh, Twitch or
stream.
YouTube face to face right there. But I kind of talked about Justin Jefferson not scoring back to back weeks, TC, not scoring over 10 points. Let's say he scores under 10 again. He puts up 6.5 fantasy points. Okay. Is
Okay.
Skin in trouble? Is he in trouble when it comes to Justin Jefferson? Justin Jefferson should he ship him away when something is kind of hot right now? 3 weeks in a row, scoring under 10 points is scary. Scary. What do you
Yeah, he's not shipping Justin Jefferson away. I think. Um, I think that this is just like a few off games for Justin Jefferson. We've seen how good he can be. We've seen how good he is. I think he finds himself back on track. But we have to look across the pond at who he's going to be squaring off against, and he's going to be facing off against Lattimore, and Lattimore's been shutting everybody down. So this could be another down week. But luckily, it's early in the season, so if your players are going to underperform, this is the time you want it, because you need to know what you need to get yourself into to give yourself a playoff run. Now, if his keepers continue to perform like they have, he is in trouble. He is it doesn't matter how good his QBs are if Jonathan Taylor and Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp aren't scoring. If they're not scoring touchdowns, oh no. Oh no. Bad spot.
Absolutely.
So
And heck, Jonathan Taylor, like you mentioned, kind of a similar thing. But, I mean, his quarterbacks right now, obviously, TC carrying the load. Last week, they just dominated. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, TC. Do you see the feelings starting to change between Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Is that, I know you've been a CEH hater last couple years. Is it
yeah,
starting to grow whatsoever? He's fourth position ranked right now. He is the fourth running back out of 3 weeks. He has scored over 10 points every week. He's had a touchdown, only one. All right, and he's carried it under 10 times every week. But he's finding the end zone. What do you think about Clyde Edwards-Helaire? He's very highly, involved in the passing game as well.
it seems like they figured out how to use him.
Yeah.
Now, he's not a goal line back, and we found that out quick. But he is very good in an offense that can extend the play duration to make things happen like what Patrick Mahomes can do. So there's no Tyreek Hill there, so they got to find another outlet. And the Chiefs are doing a good job of spreading the ball around, and I think CEH is benefiting the most out of anybody on that team that isn't named Travis Kelce. I think he's their second best offensive weapon outside of the quarterback situation. So they got to keep feeding him the ball, and they will, because they don't really, you're not going to trust Juju Smith-Schuster or MVS about over him at this point. He's making the most of his targets. He's 3 for 3, 4 for 4, 5 for 5 in the concurrent weeks. So he's doing what you need to ask him. So I believe he's a great pass catching back, and I'll leave it at that. And he's good for fantasy.
We got Keegan's matchup. Murray, Goff, quarterbacks, Cook, Jones, running backs, Chase, Waddle, Brown, Hollywood Brown, wide receivers, Mark Andrews leading the way, tight end number 1. He's, his tight end category, Jeff Wilson and Devonte Williams. He is benching DJ Moore and Mike Williams and Gabe Davis. What do you think about Keegan's team?
Yeah, he's got a pretty consistent squad right here. No, but I'm wondering about Dalvin Cook, with the shoulder injury, what's going to happen with that? Is he going to be useful? We don't know, but luckily he's got other running backs that he can put in that situation. I'm surprised he's benching Mike Williams. I guess it's because Keenan Allen is back and he doesn't believe in him. But I do like Waddle and Chase as the 1-2 wide receiver. Marquis Brown had his biggest game, which kind of shot him into fantasy stardom of the past week. So that if he's the only target there in Arizona, then he's got to be a play, and especially with the stack, the Kyler Murray, Marquise Brown stack. Now I'm looking, and I'm not liking Keegan's quarterbacks. They just don't do it for me. We know that these players have potential, but they're just not activating that potential. And Keegan, if he really wants to make, speak of the devil, Keegan S, 28. If he really wants to go for the win this year, he needs a more consistent quarterback. He's going to have to do something. He's going to have to make a big boy move and go get himself a quarterback, because I don't even
he's got Dak Prescott. He's got Dak Prescott, who will return here in a couple weeks.
But so far Dak Prescott is considered injury prone. He's been injured in the last 3 years each year, right?
It could definitely be worse for Keegan. Listen to me. I don't usually back up Keegan Scott. That's a thing I normally don't do. But he's got the 10th and 11th quarterback right now. Things could be worse.
It could be.
Because the heck, wasn't it last year that he had awful quarterbacks? So this
Yeah.
is an improvement.
It is an improvement.
We'll
You
give him
couldn't
a
have got
bone.
worse than it was.
Yeah. So I mean, 10 and 11, and those numbers could get better, at least for Murray, anyways. I mean, heck, Jared Goff, I'm kind of surprised about, but he's been playing well, better than what he's done in the last couple of years. But heck, it definitely could be worse.
Yeah. And he'll do something. He'll make the move. If he really wants to. I don't know if Deshaun Watson will come back and play well. He's got both of them, so he has options. He's got 4 quarterbacks who can play really well, but will they? That's the question. If he can
TC, got a question
figure
for
that
you.
out,
Would you trade Dalvin Cook for Austin Eckler? Dalvin Cook for Austin Eckler.
no, I wouldn't.
Oh. Okay, there you go. No, you know what? I probably would not. Again, we know the talent for Dalvin Cook. We know what he can do, but you always got to think about the injury and in any kind of injury. I mean, he's like 2 out of 3 weeks. He's had over 10 points. We know that, only 1 touchdown. But Austin Eckler is so much more involved in the offense.
Look at the targets that Eckler gets. Like he's getting targets in half point or full point PPR. Those are huge. Dalvin's he's a running back.
But here's the thing, so far, I mean, Dalvin Cook is, 22nd. Austin Eckler is 20th. So they're similar there. But if I had, I probably, I wouldn't even do it. I mean, I wouldn't mess with it. But again, I would not trade. I would keep Eckler. That's what I would do.
Yeah, Eckler is the better of the two in my opinion. And also like what's weird about like 1-for-1 trades, you're basically just betting that my guy is going to be better than your guy in the long run. And those are hard to really predict. Those are really hard to sit in on and say, yes, this is an even trade now, especially when they're running backs. Now, if you was a running back for a wide receiver and each team needed the other position more, then I think that's an easier option. But running back for running back, and they're both really good players, but they haven't done much fantasy wise, like what they can do. I just sit on the player that I have at this point. Play it conservative, and
yeah,
and go from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, TC, who is winning this week's matchup? Magic Soul. Oh, thank you, Tyler. Thanks for the question there, my man. Who's winning this matchup? Keegan or Skin?
I'm gonna say neither of these teams have favorable matchups, but it looks like the Magic Skull Bus has even worse matchups than the Tennessee Titans. I think, anyways, I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans based off of Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, just those two kind of leading the charge. But we thought last week that it was a write-off, that you were going to lose, but you didn't. So fantasy football will fantasy football. But I think the Tennessee Titans are going to bring this home. They're going to go 3-1. Magic School Bus is going to go 2-2.
Okay. I'm picking the Titans over the School Bus. Yeah, I think Titans will bounce back, score more than 155 points this week, and they will defeat the Magic Skull Bus. Who's winning this overall matchup? TC.
How many times have they played?
They have battled 17 times. Keegan and Skin, 17 times.
17 times. I'm going to say 11-8. Tennessee Titans.
That was a good one. Good job. Good joke.
I think the Tennessee. Well, this is tough because I think they're fairly close. But I think Magic Skull Bus is winning this matchup.
You got a number?
Yeah. 10-7.
10-7, Keegan?
Yeah.
It's 10-7 Skin. 10-7 Skin is beating Keegan Scott in the overall matchup.
Wow.
Oh, Keegan guessed. He guessed it, but he cheated. We're gonna say Keegan cheated there. Yeah, shocker. Yeah. All right.
Should I
So
trade Jared Goff, Watson, and DJ Moore for Stafford, Joe Mixon, and Drake London? Um, yeah, I would.
why are we answering this question? It's Keegan.
I mean,
Um,
it's user interaction.
Jared Goff, Watson, and DJ Moore for yes. I want Joe Mixon and Drake London. Yes. I like
Um,
myself some Drake London.
yeah, but I don't know if that's going to happen because the person that he's going to trade that with doesn't trade. So, or if he does trade, he only trades to Keegan or answers Keegan. So, I would do it, but I don't think it's going to go. It's not going to happen.
All right, let's move on to our last matchup. TC, we have the Terry's Terrorists going up against the Philadelphia Queefles. This one, right now, TC, the projection score looks pretty tight, but Marcus does not have a defense in, so that might change it a little bit. Marcus has Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith still in his tight end or his quarterbacks. Fournette and Mixon, running backs, Debo Samuel. Mike Evans is back with the rookie Drake London, Travis Kelce and tight end, James Conner and Patterson is flex spots. How do you feel about Marcus's team? Will he go in a 1-3 hole?
Well, there's a possibility. I think Mike Evans being back is great for him, but I also know that Chris Godwin's back. I don't know how much they'll use Godwin. Evans is healthy, so we know he'll be a target hog this week. I do like that. I do like Marcus's receivers situation. Um, Debo, Drake London, he's 11th as a rookie wide receiver. I like the Drake London situation here. He doesn't have a defense in. What's his defense? The Bills 3.9. This is a slight edge even more when you have the defense. Yeah, this is a good decent matchup. Neither of these teams are like really hot. The 2-1 by the Philadelphia Queeples is kind of put an asterisk next to it because one of his wins was against me, and
Mm.
I don't think that really proves
Mm.
anything.
Mm.
So both of these teams are pretty even.
We got Q's
Uh,
team. Lamar Jackson carried the load last week, and he's got Tom Brady, who we were just talking about, will possibly turn on. Right now, he's 27th quarterback in our league. Has only scored over 15 points one time. He's thrown 3 touchdowns and 1 interception.
he's
Not
lost a
not
fumble
a
too.
good start so far for Tom Brady, but heck, his Buccaneers team, 2-1, I believe, so far in the year. So, Christian McCaffrey is another one. That's outside of the top 10. He's there. In Q's lineup still. We got Jamal Williams, a new face on this lineup who is position ranked 7th in our league. He's had a couple good weeks, and with Swift being out, that's a good start there for Q. Devonte Adams, Deontay Johnson, and DK Metcalf as wide receivers. Dallas Goedert, tight end, Keenan Allen, and Devin Singletary. His flex option, he is benching so far. He's benching, DeAndre Swift, but Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Elijah Moore. How do you feel with Darrell Henderson, who was starting last week? TC, how do you feel about Q's team?
I think there's a fall off from his starters to his bench. Like there's too big of a gap to really, and that's where we see him mixing it up with the flex, having Devin Singletary coming off his best game, and I don't know, like it's been a while since we've seen Devin Singletary have a game like that. So he's playing the hot hand. He's hoping Keenan Allen gets back to form, but we will find that out. DK Metcalf,
Mm.
underwhelming to say the
Mm.
least, is still starting in his roster. I don't disagree because we know DK can be big time, and he did get 14 points last week because he had a touchdown, but he's very much touchdown dependent right now. And I think the biggest thing that this owner of the Philadelphia Queefles has to pay attention to is his running back situation. If DeAndre Swift isn't playing, luckily he's got the handcuff in Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
But Christian McCaffrey dealing with a quad injury right now. Gets over 12 points each game. That is solid. He's position ranked 11. We know the guy is great. Are they going to unleash him? I don't know about that because it seems like they're taking it easy, but they have given him more and more attempts each week. But they're not utilizing him like he should be. He should be getting more targets. Really, just the Panthers just aren't fantasy relevant because Baker Mayfield just makes teams not fantasy relevant for receiving anyway. Like OBJ was a non-factor with Baker throwing in the ball. DJ Moore, a non-factor, and he had hype this offseason that Baker Mayfield was going to be the problem solve all of his issues, and it hasn't happened. So I'm not big on the Panthers right now, but and Christian McCaffrey's not the old Christian McCaffrey that we've seen and know and love. I think that there's a slight edge, Marcus, and I think that is gonna. He's got a better wide receiver, running back, and flex core like overall, and I think that's what's gonna push him over the edge.
So you're picking Marcus over Q this week?
I'm gonna pick Marcus over Q this week, but I can't count out Lamar Jackson. So that is like really the one thing on Q's team that's like, you can't count the dude out. It's back-to-back weeks over 40 points.
Mm-hmm.
If he does that again against Buffalo, oh boy.
Going up against Buffalo this week, it's going to be interesting to see. Heck, even if he scores 30-plus points,
Yeah, that's big. That's
still,
big
for
a quarterback.
It's still big. But I think I'm agreeing with you. We're buddies here. I think Marcus will escape and be 2-2. Push Q back to 2-2 as well. Kind of making all these teams even here, possibly. Who's winning the overall matchup between these two?
How many total they have? I think it's the Queefles. I think he's got more wins.
They battled 9 times.
I'm gonna say 7-2 the Queefles.
Good job. You went 1 for 3 today, TC.
But that wasn't just guessing, what the matchup was. I was guessing the record too. So that's like a twofer.
Is that too hard for you, or?
No, I love it. Let's keep going.
We got a game tonight. Dolphins going up against the Bengals. That should be a good one, even though the Bengals are 1-2. Still a very good team, defending division champs there. 1-2. Dolphins shocked here, 3-0. Undefeated team, only 2 left in the NFL. Eagles being one of them, but it's also the Dolphins and the Eagles undefeated. Prime Video, 8:15. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a little shocked that the Dolphins are 3-0, but after seeing how hot it was when they played the Bills, and honestly, the Bills were all over the place. They had the time of possession was heavily leaning Bills, so we know that they were moving the ball. They just couldn't score, and they were gassed. And the Dolphins, they pulled it out. They squeaked it out. I don't think that they're better than the Bills. I think this is a very close matchup. Like both of these teams have really good weapons. I think Joe Burrow is a better quarterback, although Tua did have that really big week 2 performance that kind of skews him because his other performances were like under mediocre. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a good fantasy matchup this week. I think start your wide receivers, your Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Waddle, your Tyreek. I don't really think there are any tight ends that I'm going to start over anybody else on these two teams. It's really just the quarterbacks and the 2 options at wide receiver are the only players that you really need to pay attention to this week. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Bengals are going to win. I think they have to win. I don't think that the Dolphins are going to go 4-0. I don't think so.
We will see. We will see. Should be a good one tonight. TC, appreciate you coming on, jumping on. Long one today. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, this has been great. I just want to give a big shout out to our producer, the owner of the Philadelphia Queefles, the vlog loser of 2021. He did a great job with hooking us up, making sure our stream stayed, and making sure we answered the questions right. So thank you to him. And I want to, just let everybody know who's tuned in. You guys are great. We want to keep doing this and keep giving us trade questions. We love that stuff.
Yeah, Melcorks, 39, and Tyler. Appreciate you guys' questions. heck, it makes it enjoyable for us. Talking about that and kind of giving outside look into your guys' league, and your roster. So we appreciate your time and questions.
Yeah, we like hearing ourselves talk, which is why we're here, and it's fun. It really makes it fun. Also, thanks to Keegan S28 and what's this other guy? Jay McKinley 28.
Yeah. Gosh.
He was all right. He had a few things to throw in, but
Well, again, TC, thanks everybody for listening. TC, thanks for joining. Everybody, Q, thanks for the producing. You have listened to the FLOGcast Network. Everybody stay safe.